Oh my gosh, it was TF2's 11th birthday last week. Shoot, I didn't make a video. Hang on, let's see how... Okay, I think that's good enough. Alright, let's just... Is the heavy update out yet? No? Nah, I expected that. Hey guys, I just went on a long break. Don't know what just happened. Yeah, so heavy update's still not out yet. That's fantastic. On the bright side, at least I can get this video out without all that pressure of heavy update looming. I gotta get this done right now. Oh no, this is not good. But this is kinda also a bad thing because we're almost entering December without a major update. This might end up being the first year without a TF2 update or like a major update, but I still have hope for the TF2 team, and I really hope we get our update in the next couple weeks. Maybe even like a Christmas present for Smithsmith or something. I don't know. So I guess that means I have to talk about the weapons I hope get buffed and nerfed in the heavy update, and this is part 2 of a 2-part video. The first part talked about specifically Heavy's weapons, because, let's face it, Heavy needs a huge rebalancing, and I'm glad to see that he's gonna get his own update for it. And today, we're gonna be talking about everyone else. But I'm probably gonna be a little bit more simpler with all my explanations, and I might just go back to the similar last year's, the one weapon I hope gets buffed and one weapon I hope gets nerfed, just to save time. And now that it's been a year ever since I posted that video, and I'm actually thinking more balancing in a more competitive state, I kind of am going to be talking about that a little bit more in this video. Because, well, at this point, I feel like Valve's going to start balancing things in a more competitive setting, because they did that in Meet Your Match in Jungle Inferno, and I think it's a good idea to consider that when balancing, like, weapons. So, I'm going to sort of explain what a more competitive setting's like. So random crits are off by default, and random bullet spread is off by default. So you won't be getting those 300% damage increases at random, which, by the way, Valve, please remove from casual. And also, random bullet spread will not be an issue either. So every shotgun / scattergun based weapon will be like the panic attack and have a fixed pattern the entire time. And it, it doesn't get like wider the amount of shots you fire. So with that being said, here's the rest of the 8 classes and the weapons I hope to see buffed and nerfed in the heavy update, starting with my favorite Scout boyo. Now, as far as Scout's weapons goes, I think he's similar to Heavy pretty much, as in, he doesn't really need any more nerfs, but there's a lot of weapons that definitely need buffs. And it was a tricky one to pick the one I want the most buffed. And I'm actually going to put them both in the same slot, with both of them being the Big Face's Blaster and the Sandman. The BFB's obvious. It's a great weapon, but it just sucks. That just 25 damage to drain the whole boost you worked so hard for. I think it really needs a rework. And then the Sandman, I think I talked about it more in the Sad State of the Sandman video. It's just, I want to see it used, like, usable again. Like, it's so bad. It's not even worth using. And then, like I said, nerf-wise, I don't really think Scout needs any more nerfs. Maybe the Criticola, but that's sort of a 50-50 because it's already a really bad choice already, but I don't know. Moving on with Soldier, this one's going to be another tricky one. Or, not really, but for buff, I would really like to see the Liberty Launcher get a little bit of a change. On the bright side, the Righteous Bison was reverted to its pre-Meet Your Match form, even though it wasn't really, but at least it's usable now. The Liberty Launcher is a good idea, but it's just that damage penalty really kills it. And I'd honestly like to see something make it a little bit more unique, say like a faster firing speed and a faster reload speed. That's sort of my idea. And as for nerf, I really don't know. If I had to pick one, it would probably be the Conjurer again. Mainly because it's an extremely powerful buff, and it's pretty much the best in pretty much any situation. But sometimes not really. It just kind of overshadows the rest of the banners. So yeah. Now on to Mr. Mumbly. No, not Mundy. Mumbly. Pyro. You didn't get it? For the buff, I was happy to see the Extinguisher get changed, even though it didn't get changed in Jungle Inferno, got changed in Blue Moon. But I was really happy to see it change. And for buffing this year, I'm going to go with the Thermal Thruster. Yes, surprisingly enough, I actually think the Thermal Thruster is kind of a poor choice. Because one, it's so annoying that you have to wait so long to holster the weapon, and two, it's kind of not necessary at the moment. I mean, the Detonator can pretty much do what this weapon does, but better. And as for nerfing, it's another one of those things that I don't know, because I don't really see any weapons that really overpowered, but if I had to pick one, it would probably be the Phlogistonator. Oh my gosh, the Phlogistonator, it's so annoying. And pretty much any flamethrower in general, because like WM1's so annoying. I mean, like, you can basically just do, like, sort of do less damage the longer longer the trigger's been pulled, or the longer you've been firing. I don't know how to word it, but, you know, the longer you've been firing, the less damage it'll do, pretty much. And the whole concept behind the Flog is kind of stupid. You're pretty much rewarding more damage by doing damage. And there's no air blast, so you have no choice but to WM1 or just spam score shot flares, but really, I think this weapon needs a little bit of a nerf. Just a bit. On to Demo Man, and oh boy, there's a lot of weapons I'd like to see buffed on Demo. And really, I think I decided to do, once again, two options, because it was so hard to decide on one. Sheesh. But my two choices are the Lock and Load and the Ulpu Caber. Now, I was really happy to see the Cladmore, or Claymore, whatever you want to call it, finally get a buff. Or, while it didn't really get reverted to its pre-Tough Break version, I was still happy to see it go back to a little bit of what it used to be. At least it wasn't completely useless. And I really hope the Lock and Load Ulpu Caber will sort of be similar. Because the Lock and Load was a great tool, even though it was a wee bit overpowered, turned completely useless, and the same thing as the Ulpu Caber. And as for nerfing, I think it's about time we, at the very least, nerf the Sticky Bomb Launcher a little bit. I'm not saying like what they did in Love and War. That was just not a good idea at all. I just say something that will, at the very least, make it so the Sticky Bomb Launcher isn't the best in, like, all the time, like, extremely overpowered in every situation. Because that's sort of the Sticky Bomb Launcher at this point. And like I said, I'm not saying Love and War. That is not how you nerf the Sticky Bomb Launcher, but something where it at the very least makes it less effective. Moving on to Engineer. Oh wait, what about Heavy? I did Heavy in that first part. If you want to know what I want for Heavy's changes, go look at that video. But anyways, Engineer. For buffs, I honestly, it's hard for me to think, but I think the only weapon at this point that I find to be pretty unbalanced in both the buff and the nerf would be, for buffing, the Pomson 6000s. I mean, like, that weapon's kind of not that good. And as for nerfing, the Southern Hospitality. I mean, like, that thing is just, it's just a wee bit too strong, especially in a scenario where there's no pyros or any type of fire weapon. That makes it pretty much a straight upgrade over stock. And I think the Pomson, it's a great idea. Like, losing Cloak and Uber on hit is a pretty big downside. But just overall, the damage isn't really that good, and the projectile is pretty slow. So yeah. Now for Medic. Oh boy, what do I would like to see changed? I think for buffing is another tricky one. Again, two weapons I want to see changed. The Vaccinator and the Overdose. The Vaccinator is a pretty good weapon, but it's kind of overshadowed by all the other Mediguns. It's a little bit pushed behind. It's a good idea, but the other Mediguns are just better. And the Overdose at this point is probably the last weapon I find to be bad on Medic, because it's overall kind of pointless. And as for nerfing, it's another tricky one, but I'd have to say the Blutsauger. Mainly because it's pretty much a straight upgrade over stock. And that's pretty much the only thing about it. Maybe the Crit Streak too, but I'm not quite sure. Now on to Mr. Mundy. Yes, Mundy, not Mumbly. But for buffing, it was another tricky one, because I think really the only other option I would say would probably be either the Shahanshah or the Classic. Because both weapons are kinda overshadowed by the other weapons. For example, the Classic's a good idea, but it's kind of overshadowed by the Huntsman since it does the same thing but better. And the Shahanshah can pretty much be outclassed by the Bushwalker in pretty much every situation. It's a good idea, but it's kind of played out pretty poorly. And as for nerfing, it was another tricky one. Because, well, at this point, there's really no weapon that is in a severe need of a nerf. But if I had to pick one, it would probably be the Bizarre Bargain. Mainly because it's pretty much a straight upgrade to the sniper rifle in almost every way. Yes, there's a slower charge speed, but if you can manage to headshot pretty much any class below 150 in a consistent manner, you pretty much have an easy body shot weapon by that point. And last, but certainly not least, the one and only Baguette Master. Sorry for any French viewers. For the weapon I want to see buffed, I'd probably say the Ambassador, surprisingly. Mainly because it's kinda outranked by the Diamondback at that point, which, speaking of which, is the weapon I also want to see nerfed. Because, well, it's a weapon that rewards skill, but the Diamondbacks pretty much just say, hey, screw it. Backstab a bunch of people, there you go, you got 9 billion crits. Meanwhile, the Ambassador takes time and patience to master and to use effectively. So yeah, that's pretty much all the weapons I want to see buffed and nerfed. Wow, that took a lot quicker than I thought it would. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole video. Sorry if it kind of felt a little rushed. I just wanted to get this out before Valve supposedly would have released the update. But hey, I got done before the update hit, so that's a thing. If there's even going to be an update. Which I hope there is. Come on, Valve, I believe in you. I believe in you. I honestly believe in you. So yeah, as for my next video, I don't quite know when that's coming out, but I'll have something for you guys. Don't worry. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This is... You guys already know at this point. It's me, and thanks for watching the video. And, peace. Made it the old-fashioned way.